Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the October 13th, 2019 full moon in Aries. Now, as far as the basic meaning of a full moon, it can be, by the meaning of full, it can be very unrestrained, uninhibited, unleashing an outpouring of emotions that may have been suppressed and repressed for a very protracted period. Now, given that this is going to be an Aries, of course, it could be very acrimonious and even volatile ones. Um, this could be a time too where, when you look at the full moon, it could be this particular one, can affect all. All full moons can affect everyone collectively, but especially if you have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries or Cancer. In Aries because it's going to be in their sign, and Cancer because, well, Cancer simply is can be strongly affected by all transits, phases of the moon because it governs their sign. It can play a role as to why the zodiac sign Cancer can be so moody, fickle, and temperamental. Now, especially if this makes a conjunction to someone's Aries or Cancer sun, moon, or ascendant, it can be very strongly impacted. Now, could be very intensified. Now, and also when you have a full moon, there can be a greater propensity for accidents. Now, given that this is an Aries, this could be attributed to road rage, very impulsive, impetuous driving. It could be trying to shift in front of somebody, go into another lane very quickly without checking behind you or checking your blinders, checking the side view mirror or what have you. And it could also be about very bold, attributed to very bold and fearless, very audacious driving, trying to get that lead, go out in front of somebody, cut in front of somebody too quickly, and not gauging the car, but that car that actually you're cutting in front of, their speed and where they are in relation to you, etc. Now, when you're talking about full moons in astrology, they also can represent the end or a culmination of something. Now, given that this is, Aries, this could be the ending or culmination, completion of a rather contentious, combative, or even abusive situation in some cases. Say if you have this like in the fourth house, this could be like the end of some domestic violence situation. And also too, it could also be the end, something that could literally be somebody that was literally starting fires. Aries could be connected with that. I see that, or some adventure might be over, or something that involves something very pioneering or innovative might come to a completion. Remember that when you're talking about full moons in astrology, it could be about going forward with something public, and it could be, and given that this is Aries, it could be something connected with speech therapy, or some kind of physical, or some kind of something with something physical, or some physical therapy device, or something for the head, like some kind of new helmet or something for sports. Anything, that could be Aries related. Remember too, Aries is very pioneering energy, so this could almost, I could say, encompass anything that could be very innovative at this time. So those are some ways that this could manifest. Now, also too, this could also be, when you're talking about full moons in astrology, it could be about a revelation or unveiling of something. Now, in some cases, could it be a fire starter? If there is literally, in some isolated cases, if there was some arson going on in your neighborhood, this could be a time where that person might actually be apprehended or unveiled. Or it could also be if there's somebody maybe instigating something, say behind the scenes. Let's say you have this transit, it's in your 12th house of behind the scenes activity, could indicate in some cases where there could be some instigator, some troublemaker that's going behind the scenes covertly, basically a hidden adversary. And it could be where that person is unveiled or revealed at this time, comes to light. Now, could also be if there was a missing firearm or gun, many may find it at this time, or maybe some kind of, or it could even be in some cases where when you're looking at this, Aries energy could be about headaches. It could be something that you found out was causing maybe a literal headache in some cases. If you have this, say in your first house of the physical body or the sixth house of health. Also, too, I mean, when you're talking about full moons in astrology, it could be about when one becomes tired, full, or exasperated at something. And given that, talking about full moons, it's very often very suppressed, repressed energy, like a volcanic eruption that's ready to, that comes out. And given that this is Aries energy, can come out very spontaneously and abruptly, and could even be volatile in some cases, and a lot of that could be predicated and dependent on the aspects this makes to points in one's chart, especially like say if you have an adverse aspect to your natal Mars, it could be something where, or even a conjunction could even intensify propensity for a violent outburst. But this could be something too where, I mean, looking at this, it could also be time where one becomes very tired, full, or exasperated at somebody that might be overly abrupt, aggressive, overly pushy, or outspoken, acerbic, or argumentative, or disputatious. Even a combative person could even be in some cases a physically combative person. This could be something too where I mean, it's important to look at the house that this falls in, as this, of course, could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, mine is going to fall in the 12th house in my natal chart. This of course could manifest in a multitude of ways. This could be about the revelation or unveiling of an Aries hidden adversary, could be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Aries characteristics. It could be also a time to where I might be, where it could be a self-revelation, where it could be where I become more cognizant of having that courage and fortitude to extricate myself from a limiting situation. Sorry, people. It could also be a time to where I might become exasperated, tired, or full of maybe having maybe a situation maybe that's in private that might be a little bit contentious, or there's some disputatious situation in my private life that maybe I have really become tired, exasperated, or full of, or just a limitation, maybe showing lack of initiative, lack of this could be a time where maybe I look at this as where I'm just tired maybe of the lack of initiative and enterprise, because given that this is Aries energy and that going to fall in my house of limitations at this time and restrictions. So those are some ways that this could manifest and pan out for me. But now, in some cases, some people, it might affect them differently. And again, a lot of that could be predicated and dependent on aspects that makes the points in the chart. Now, let's say this is another person that has that same transit as me, and they have it in their 12th house. Well, in isolated cases, it could be that really something coming to light, connected even with an Aries type mental illness, but that would be a lot of that again would be predicated and dependent on aspects that makes the points in your chart. Like, for example, an adverse aspect to your natal Uranus could be where, and if it falls in, and say this transit falls in your 12th house and it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Uranus, it could be some disclosure of some kind of or onset of some intermittent explosive disorder. But that could be very isolated, and again, a lot of it depends on aspects that makes the points in your chart. Now, going to that, it's also important to look at the aspects that makes the points in your chart, as this could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, mine is going, interestingly enough, it's going to square my natal Mars, and of course Mars rules Aries, so this could really be a time too where whatever is going on as far as this energy, this transit of the full moon in Aries in my 12th house in my chart, whatever is going on with that may very well conflict with perhaps maybe some, I call energy into introverted communications, because Mars, I have my natal Mars in Cancer in my 3rd house in my chart, Could be family or at-home communications, or just general energy and home-related matters which require a lot of mobility. So this is where this energy could be very adversarial, trying to deal with what's going on in this transit with the 12th house, the transit of the full moon in Aries in my 12th, conflicting with the Mars in Cancer energy natally in my 3rd house in my natal chart. So anyway, and I think it could also exacerbate some kind of acrimonious energy. You're already talking about the full moon being in the sign, I would say most synonymous with anger, Aries, and it's going to make an adverse aspect to my natal Mars. So it's something I need to be wary of at this time. Also, too, it's a thing about this could be an end of an Aries-like type venture, career, or vocation, and especially if this falls in what I call one of the money or job houses in the natal chart, the 2nd, 6th, or 10th house. I mean, it could be the ending of something connected with welding, carpentry, firefighting, arson investigation, the military, law enforcement, something connected with leadership or management. If somebody's a surgeon, this might come to an end, that position, or physical therapy, anything that could be Aries related, any occupation associated with the face or the head. And also, too, I mean, let's say if this falls in the 1st or 6th house in one's natal chart, this could be an issue that might be revealed that's connected with an Aries health-related issue, such as something with the face or the head or the skull. It could be some swelling or protrusion or inflammation on the face may come to life. It could even be a brain issue may come to light at this time, or something associated with the upper jaw. Now, again, looking at aspects this makes can be significant as well. If you have this transit saying it falls in your 1st or your 6th house, as I stated before as an example, and let's say it makes it, as another example, let's say it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Uranus, it could be something where there might be more propensity for like facial twitching or something like that may come to life, because Uranus, of course, is very erratic and intermittent energy. So anyway, well, it's also important to look at the electional aspects this makes, as this could impact the delineation and interpretation as well. Keep in mind there's going to be a square, this is going to make a square to Pluto at this time, is going to be one of the aspects. And the thing about it is people might become very tired and full exasperated, maybe emotional manipulation in this case. If this is a situation where one has been dealing with some kind of manipulative issue that has become where one has become very incensed and on an emotional level especially, this could be the time where you could have that very strong unleashing and outpouring of very angry, acerbic, Aries type energy and emotions due to this. And also keep in mind too that Pluto is going to be the focal point of a cardinal T-square configuration, which of course it's going to consist of the Sun in Libra making the opposition to the full moon in Aries, and it's going to make and both those points are going to make a square to the focal point of the configuration, which is Pluto in Capricorn, very tight square. And Pluto, the thing about this, which could be, you need to be very careful. I mean, you're going to have, this could manifest in a multitude of ways. There have been some really strong situations from what I've seen online as far as some murders, and just it's important to be very careful because Pluto is can be connected with murders, with death. A lot of this could be a lot of like really sometimes overly distorted suspicious behavior, because Pluto can be connected with that as a result of that adversarial energy between the Sun in Libra and the full moon in Aries. This could, when you have this opposition with the full moon in Aries and the Sun in Libra, it could be about the Sun in Libra wanting those certain relationships, but the full moon in Aries, it could be about people that have that need for more independence and freedom and self-reliance. And as a result of a lot of those people going away from relationships, you could have that, again, that Pluto being the focal point, the overemphasis, the overcompensation point as a result of this opposition. That could manifest in could manifest in stalking in some cases very obsessive behavior, very controlling behavior, anything that could be Pluto related, and very distorted, suspicious behavior. Well, why does this person not want to emphasize this relationship anymore? Is this person cheating on me? Things of that nature, overly suspicious behavior. And Pluto can be connected with paranoia. So anyway, you get the idea. But keep in mind too that other aspects that are electional can be significant as well, as they could be amplified due to the fact that they're taking place at the time of this full moon in Aries. You're going to have a Venus-Mercury conjunction in Scorpio at this time. And the Venus and Mercury conjunction in Scorpio, that can manifest in some cases as many people making some money through some Scorpio-related writings, such as something with astrology, the occult, the supernatural, locksmithing, something connected with the macabre, horror stories, anything that could be Scorpio related, writing about death, crisis situations. And given that it's taking place on the full moon in Aries, full moons can be about completions and culminations of endings, so you get the idea. You could do the math. It could be a very good period, very fortuitous for finishing those kind of writings, because full moons can be about endings in astrology. Now, another thing too is that Sabian symbols, as far as that goes, this is going to be at 20 degrees Aries. Now, being at 20 degrees Aries, well, this could be about very strong ostracism or feelings of abandonment, desolation, even incarceration. If you have this site in your 12th house, be very careful regarding situations that may lead to incarcerations, violent, over-emotional, volatile behavior, even road rage. And also it could be a time where people really, there might be many people at this time where they're showing that strong exasperation, being tired, full, so to speak, of feelings of being ostracized, of abandonment, of feeling alone and desolate. It's very interesting because, again, I'm going to have this in my 12th house, in my natal chart, and the 12th house could really perhaps reaffirm and reinforce this energy for me, because the 12th house is that house of solitude and seclusion. It can be about what we do, as far as alone time goes, in isolation and desolation. So you get the idea. This could be like a double whammy for me. This could be a time where maybe I'm finally tired of being by myself, though I've been somewhat adaptable to it for a very protracted period. Now, also, too, what's interesting about this, you got to keep in mind that other transits to your natal chart can be amplified as well. Well, first, this could be a time, too, where, like for me, I'm going to have the transit Sun in Libra at this time. At this time, this full moon Aries transit Sun in Libra is going to make an inconjunct aspect to my natal Taurus ascendant. And when you're talking about inconjuncts to the ascendant, it could often be about health-related issues. And given that this is the Sun, it could be some issue, some cases, some kind of vitality or stamina issues are going to fall in my 6th house of health. And it's making the inconjunct again to my Taurus ascendant. That latent Taurus energy, powers of endurance, may be able to feel a little bit diminished. I might feel a little bit need some downtime, so to speak, as far as that goes. And then again, having the full moon in Aries in that 12th house may not help matters. But the thing is, the fact that it's going to be in Libra could also be some issue, something that could be a very strong focus on some Libra health-related matter. It could be something connected with the kidneys or the lower back at this time. And especially that's making that inconjunct aspect to my Taurus ascendant. So anyway, those are some ways that this could pan out at this time, and ways that this could impact people. And in some cases, looking at this as well, another example I want to talk about, let's say that you have this in your 5th house in your natal chart. Well, this could be a time where one may complete an Aries-like sport. I would say anything combative, such as jousting or karate, something with self-defense, a combative sport, one way or another. Even ones that have a lot of physical contact, like football. Many people may be calling it quits at this time if it's hitting their 5th house in their natal chart. or even like say if it's conjunct their Jupiter or something that could be sports related. So anyway, people, well, that would conclude this YouTube astrological. I wanted to talk about one more thing. One more thing, being a little bit futuristic. Can this? I'm thinking that this might, the way this might manifest as well. I mean, think about it. I'm wondering if there might be some nuclear deal that might take place at around this time, because you're talking about the opposition with the Libra and Aries energy, and it could be about trying to balance peace and war. War being Aries, of course, peace being the Sun in Libra. Pluto falls at the midpoint of the cardinal T-square configuration. Pluto can be connected with things that are nuclear, like nuclear weapons. So I'm thinking that could be one. It wouldn't surprise me if something might be in the works, even if we don't hear about it at that time, even if it's covertly. There might be some new agreement. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.